Welcome back to ShopDog-Garage. Today, ShopDog and I are going to do a little further digging into this, and we're going to decide how we want to handle pass-throughs. Harlan swears somewhere in all of this mess is another one of those square 56, 57 style firewall grommets. So I got some digging to do. We'll look through. I've got to figure out not only where I want to put the holes, but how. So there's some things to figure out, but we'll get there. How hard can it be, right? So anyway, welcome back. And look at that. We have one. That is that grommet right there. Well, you got to turn it right. So now I've got to figure out where I can mount that. So I just took the steering wheel and the temp seat out, and now I should be able to get up in here and figure out where I want to run things. The other big thing, of course, being I need to figure out exactly where the fuse box is going to mount. In fact, that might be the very first thing I have to do, because knowing where that goes, that's going to be on my list. And just like that, challenge number one. We're not going to be mounting this the way they want us to. So they gave us this little adapter plate, American Auto Wire, and you stack up some washers and stuff, and then it gives us a place to mount the fuses. I want you to notice it is relative to a top hole here and a mounting hole here. This top hole is, here, let me grab a light. Well, first off, here's that plate. So we're going to take this plate and this light. We're going to come out here, and I just put new tape on the light, so hopefully that works out. So this hole, that is that bottom hole there on the hood hinge, and then this other hole, if you look down there, you'll see there's a hole there. Okay, so we're kind of looking there. Let me grab a light, and let's look in here. So remember, we're in line with that hood hinge right now. We come down. Uh-oh, we got a problem. We have our aftermarket e-brake and our aftermarket wiper right exactly where they thought we were going to be mounting our fuse box. So the fuse box was actually going to mount right above that hole. So that's obviously not going to happen. So I got to decide where that's going to go and how I'm going to mount it. On the upside, they give us plenty of wire. On the downside, it's a thing you want to have access to, but it's not a thing you want to see. So that is definitely complication number one. First thing we're actually attempting is the first thing that's going to cause us trouble. Okay, I've been moving things around and playing. Not a lot of options. I'm sure it's going to impact the glove box a little, but I'm starting to wonder if, see all this space here, as you look through the glove box, you can see over towards the heater controller. Maybe you can see it better from down there. There is some room. Also, the heater controller is mounted. I mean, it's only so sturdy, but it is mounted. So that gives me a frame of reference. Now, obviously, I'd have to move all of the wiring to go straight up. But I might be able to do, yeah, and it's fighting me, of course, because, there's a lot of weight. But I might be able to get away with something where it's like that. I gotta keep playing. There's literally nowhere over there that feels comfortable. So I'll keep playing. But yeah, this is a big boy here that has to get mounted somewhere. I know we really don't want to lose the glove box, but it may be impacted slightly. Still trying to work out how I would mount anything. I really wish this stupid pad thing wasn't in here. I hate these things just for this reason, is I really can't mount anything. Well, I haven't been filming, but I have been working. going through, and you may or may not notice this harness is getting a lot thinner. So right here, this is the feed for the fuel pump. This is the fused ignition source for the fuel pump relay, and then of course the ground comes from the sniper. You know, this was already predetermined for the headlight switch. I'm gonna have to decide whether we're doing a clutch anticipate or not. Ignition switch. Here is everything out of the harness that I need for the Dakota. So we'll make some little breakaways for that. You know, it is kind of nice. This is all that's left right now going out to the engine from this connector. Let's just tack the ignition for the MSD box. And then it says choke, but that's actually going to be the trigger for the sniper. So that's going to be that. You know, try to fuse things wherever you can. Follow things the way they want them. Okay, this is a ground that I have to add for the Dakota. You know, it's not a lot of grounds coming off of this harness. Okay, so obviously that is floor switch. This is our wiper feed, and that's going to go to this mess here that I've got to redo the harness on. Reverse lights, don't know exactly how I'm getting that down to the transmission yet, or what's going on there. Cigarette lighter, steering column. And then coming down here is the brake switch, probably changing that to a newer style. And then this particular bulb is for that heater. I don't actually know where this one was supposed to go. It's probably not going to get used in that manner, so we'll deal with that. Yeah, so we're getting there. There's another light somewhere that I've got to find. It says right here, I haven't found it yet, that this brown wire goes to the Dakota. It may be in the rear body harness itself. So, but that'll turn up. If not, it's not the hardest thing to add. So we're just kind of going through, rerouting, taking out things I don't need. Where is the rear body harness? It's in this mess somewhere. Okay, here is the headlight harness. You know, that goes out forward. This is courtesy light at this end. This is the courtesy light at the other side of the dash. Yeah, where did I pop that? Holy monkeys. Oh, that's literally right there. And then this is, yeah, see, there's only one brown wire on here. So I'm going to have to trace that around and see if I can find. Yeah, oddly enough, that other wire isn't there. So, well, either way, we'll add it, because what it comes down to is the Dakota wants to know when you've got the headlights on, or not, you know, or the interior lights. And because we have that rheostat, if it's too low a voltage, you may want the parking lights on, but the Dakota isn't going to turn on because the voltage is too low. So normally they just use the running light signal. The other thing is some, you know, there's relay ideas and stuff as well. So we'll go through that. Not too much left to redecide in this harness. One thing to note is, and it is a pretty heavy feed, this orange wire is designated for electric fans. The problem is the fan set we have here are calling for a 30 amp fuse per fan. So we're actually going to just use that as a, actually we can't even use it as a key on. It may just become an accessory because it's orange, and orange generally means it's battery. Oh crap, you can even see it written here. Yeah, this says electric fan. So chances are pretty good that's always hot. So if it's not switched, it's not really going to work out. Well, I don't know. I'll think on that. There's ups and downs to letting the fan run after the car is off, but, sometimes you worry about that. Okay, so the choke wire is going to run the sniper. And I know I'm rambling and going through here, but it's important to see just what's actually involved in doing this. This is a kit for this car. Now, it's not a factory kit, but it comes with everything for a lot of options. And you got to think it through. There's no point in making things more complicated than they have to be. So, we'll get all the courtesy lights. We'll make a really nice breakaway for our Dakota box, wherever I set that down, right here. So all the stuff that comes out of that harness will have a short little lead and 2 connectors. That just makes it easier to service things later. We'll get through it. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at right now. But it's been a few hours and I hadn't given any updates, so I thought I would show that. What I'm getting down to is how small a mass and what way can I route the wires. That's going to help me decide where this can be mounted. One thing to note, if I had to, I could make it shorter. I don't think that's actually a requirement. One other thing that's really nice is, well, I know the footprint because that's that plate that we were supposed to use. So I do know, what that footprint looks like. So if I got to make a new plate, that sure makes my life easier. Well, I'm going to have to make something. I don't know what yet, but I know I have to make something. So anyway, that's where we're at for now. We'll talk to you later. Okay, been moving things around and playing. Not a lot of options. I'm sure it's going to impact the glove box a little, but I'm starting to wonder if, see all this space here, as you look through the glove box, you can see over towards the heater controller. Maybe you can see it better from down there. There is some room. Also, the heater controller is mounted. I mean, it's only so sturdy, but it is mounted. So that gives me a frame of reference. Now, obviously, I'd have to move all of the wiring to go straight up. But I might be able to do, yeah, and it's fighting me, of course, because, there's a lot of weight. But I might be able to get away with something where it's like that. I gotta keep playing. There's literally nowhere over there that feels comfortable. So I'll keep playing. But yeah, this is a big boy here that has to get mounted somewhere. I know we really don't want to lose the glove box, but it may be impacted slightly. Now, before I continue down that road, I figured it's time to do some pre-thinning here. We're actually starting to pull crap out that I know I don't need. Just kind of going through. We're not using any of that stuff. So this is everything we need for the Dakota stuff. So this is all the instrumentation stuff. There's actually a couple wires in here that can be taken out because they're duplicates. We'll keep thinning. So anyway, this is probably going to have to be extended. This is for the headlight dimmer. Not sure where I want to mount that yet. Originally they're mounted outside, so obviously that's not going to fit, but I'll deal with that when I get there. But no matter where I mount this, I don't think this is going to reach, so, but easy enough to extend. So we'll get all that sorted. But anything that doesn't have to be in this harness, I really need to get out of here. I don't know that we're doing a clutch anticipate switch, so I've got to decide how we want to do that. I'm not sure that these cars were set up that way, and if they were, can I get a switch that will work with our setup? I don't know. Oh, while we're here, yeah, so as I push the brake, okay, oh, well, that's fun. I don't even have one. Well, we're going to have a modern one. I'm not going to go back to old school stuff. So, we don't even have a brake switch mounted yet. We may or may not even have one. Did find the wiper feed for this whole system. The wiper feed will just be a fused wire right here. So this white wire is going to go to this little box. Everything to control the wiper system is inside this little box. Well, that mounts and it kind of takes up a little space, and we're going to cut all that off and do it properly, but this was what we had to do to test it one day. Wanted to make sure we had all that working. So yeah, so that's kind of where the main harness is. I gotta figure out where this can be. Physically, it's big. It's not a tiny piece, and the area it was intended to go has other stuff in it now. Now, as you can see, it's the next day here at ShopDog. In fact, ShopDog's actually up at the house with Mama, and they're pickling some jalapenos today. Kind of going through things, getting myself caught back up. Today, I don't know what the answer is, but I think we're going to find it. I feel creative today. I've got a few more harnesses to trim out of here, but we're getting pretty close to what we're going to have. One of the things I want to do is take a little time this morning and verify. Here, yeah, look at that fat guy in the mirror. Okay, and verify how all of this gets hooked up for the heater. Pretty sure it's literally just that switch there, and then that switch comes over and feeds the blower on the outside. But I want to verify there's no other connections on the heater box. Like I said, I'm pretty sure the only thing there is this wire right here. And if that's the case, that's going to make that pretty straightforward. We're just going to take the 30 amp heater feed over to the switch right here. And in fact, you can see the ballast resistor for it. We'll take it to that, and then that is our off, medium, high. So it's only a 2-position switch. These just run cables. The other thing is there is a gray wire somewhere in there for the light. We obviously get a new light socket in our harness. It's right here. That socket, I'm really starting to wonder if that went behind the clock. I'm not finding anywhere for it. And of course we have the Dakota digital clock installed. So if that's where that went, well, that's that. So I can trim that out as well. Actually, no, I'm going to bundle that. I'm going to also, in that harness, create a harness that comes down to the console area that will have the dimmer signal, you know, the gray wire for GM. That's pretty typical. Gray wire would be your dimming and illumination. Going to give it fused 12 volts. Going to give it courtesy ground. You know, so just like you see with anything, so that, you know, you can have lights going to the rear footwells is what I'm thinking. So we're going to have our courtesy and, you know, the courtesy feed, and another feed, probably from this cigarette lighter fuse, to do some power ports. I haven't decided exactly where they're going to go, but I'd like to have at least one set of USB and one 12-volt power port in the console. Remember, this has a full-length console all the way to the rear, so even if no one's ever going to be back there, let's make it usable. So hopefully somewhere in that console is a great spot to put some of those power points. And besides, you got to charge your phone. So Okay, that's kind of where I'm at right now. Let's continue. I've been playing under here, and barring trying to move it way over there, which really isn't ideal anyway, and trying really hard not to lose the glove box because it is a handy thing to have, this volume behind the ashtray really is kind of it. I don't know if I can film this or not, but here, try not to get sick. So we're laying upside down. Okay. I think I might be able to make something like this. I can probably even shorten that foot a little bit. Just to kind of, because remember, there's a big can here, there's a big can here. So, you know, but what can I make? This is obviously the volume. One thing that's nice, here, let's get turned over, is you see there's a giant volume behind the heater ducting back there. So I mean, I can probably use that as wiring channels to kind of get things out of there, because remember, this moves. That's the wiper, so I can't go near that. So all the wiring is going to have to go the exact opposite of the way I am now, unless I want all my text upside down, which is not a thing I like to do. I will if I have to, but if I don't have to, I won't. The ashtray doesn't go back any further than right here. You can see it. So I'm not worried about that. That's all the deeper that goes. It's, can I get that tucked up high enough and then figure out what to mount it to? Because it's, you know, that's a lot of stress, a lot of bouncy, and, you know, you're popping fuses in or out. I don't want that to be an issue. Oh, look at that. I wish we could have got a better angle on that, but only so much you can do. So, yeah, I think that's the direction I'm going down. Luckily, like I had said before, at least I have something I can start using as a reference. Let's see, I've got a screw hole here. This heater duct is metal. I mean, I could put tap screws into it. It's not like they didn't. So that's always an option. I do have this heater controller box here as well, but if I don't have to mount it to that, I'd prefer it, just because getting this all back apart now, that doesn't look like a lot of fun. So I think that's really the only place I can consider. I figured I better just slide that in and make sure we're gonna have the room. I think we are. You can see it gets kind of snug, so I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit. Yeah, this goes over further than I'd hoped. I'd like to do this without making giant modifications to the glove box. We'll see. And before I can monkey with all of that, I need to know exactly where that bar, remember that big kind of gold bar? I need to know exactly where that swings. And can I even make something to protect my wires from it? So, figured now's as good a time as any. We're cleaning this up. So what we're going to do, now this is for that washer pump in the trunk. So that will eventually go all the way back here to plus on this. And then, you know, we'll just ground that in the trunk. And remember, there's our fuel pump. So we got that. So what we're going to do is there's a connector on that motor. I've already shortened the 3 straight throughs. These are about to become a probably the male end of, yeah, I think the red and black will wind up on a 2-pin, and then I'll do a single cavity for the one that goes back to the washer pump. Okay, so here's what we've got going on. Both grounds, both power feeds, and it's only 5 amp. I mean, this wire is crazy. And of course, these washer squirter, and then this connector goes to the little motor on there. So now I should be able to just pop this in the car, put a couple temporaries on here, and find out where that bar goes. Also, at some point we were going to need to find out when this is pointed. So once it's parked, then I can mark which way that's up. One of the things we need to do, since we were going to adapt this knob, is I need a nice flat for that to kind of sit against. So we went in the car, and this flat here, that's up. So I want that set screw somewhere where you're not going to notice it. So I'm going to put a flat right here, so even when it's on, the set screw isn't visible. An interesting conundrum. This already has a big crack in it right here, and you can't actually tighten that. So that's going to stop us cold. Okay, we've got the Noco hooked up. You can see we're all plugged in here. This is, of course, for the squirter. This is very temporarily mounted. I have to make a little adapter ring to go inside there. It's all pretty sloppy. But what I want to know, hopefully we find out, hopefully I'm grounded good enough, I want to know where that goes. So I don't have this done yet. That may take a week or two. It's not urgent yet. Okay, come on, turn. Okay, look at that, it works. Okay, that must be intermittent. So let's see what it does again. If it does it again. Oh, that is very intermittent. Let's go up a notch. Actually, let's just go all the way. There, that's as fast as she can go. The important thing is seeing where... Okay. We actually... Yeah, it's more down here. I gotta be careful, but that's not an issue with the Dakota. You can see that doesn't really come down all that much. So I think the bigger thing is making sure that nothing gets stuck in this hole here. I think we're gonna put something over that. You know, a big sticker or something just to keep stuff out of there. But you can see, yeah, okay. I think I'll be able to keep wiring off of that easy enough. Well, not easy, but well enough. And back on this, you can see we're starting our cardboard aided design. I'm curious if this is something I can work with. So I'm going to go get the harness and see if that gives me enough room. Well, that's going to need reshaped. The other thing that's becoming obvious is I can't have all the wiring coming out the one side. There's just no practical way to make that happen. So I've got to decide how I want to do that.